It's December.
God.
December.
Weird.
Merry happy holidays.
So fucking long, 2017.
Yeah.
I'm doing it.
I love the
Merry Christmas.
I love the gift. I love the gift we just got from the Congress.
Yeah.
I got a tax cut.
Oh no, I'm not getting political.
They're thinking of all of us.
Yeah, they are.
I got me a tax cut.
I'm just glad I'm able to finally write off my private plane. I just,
That has been a real
long time coming.
Yeah.
And that's exactly what
That's
the
why I
coal.
don't use mine anymore.
That's why that's what the coal miners wanted.
Yeah. It is.
You know,
Thanks,
so-
coal miners.
You get to write that off. I get to write off my Zeppelin.
That's
stuff.
great.
Oh,
isn't it?
cool.
Yeah, it's pretty cool.
Because that's what the coal miners wanted.
It's. I'm finally happy that I can write off my orgy dirigible. Because when people see that coming, they usually get a little confused, and then they get it. There's nothing rides smoother than a dirigible.
I finally get a ride off my orphan meat cannery.
Oh.
Yeah.
So finally,
Do you have
something for us supervillains.
Do you have Uruguayan orphan back in stock?
Let me work on it.
Yeah, because
I'll have to get-
these Peruvian orphans are too
You can make a phone call.
They're too gamey.
Too gamey. Yeah.
Right, I have to get to smotherin.
Well, don't be too braggadocio about it, because that's how to use that word.
Yeah, braggadocio.
He's got to get to smothering. He's Shannon Barneson.
Gotta smother me some. What did you want again?
I want Uruguayan.
Uruguayan.
I really just.
Yeah.
I'll go the Uruguayan pen. Smother you some orphans.
Smothered, covered.
Yeah, and when I'm done with that, because I'll probably do it on Wednesday. I'm gonna go to Lucky 13 and run my pub quiz.
So you do that Wednesday during the day.
Yeah, like my
Wait, is
day
that
things. I'm gonna smother some orphans and can them up.
going to be the special burger that night?
Uruguayan orphan burger.
With
It's called the sad burger.
Oh.
It's only sad if you know.
Well, no.
Or if you're them.
No, I've told you this before.
Hey, man, knowing's half the battle.
Orphan meat is delicious because their sadness like tenderizes the meat.
Oh,
does.
yeah. That's
Oh.
just
Serious?
Yeah, it's
science.
It's
That's just
just
science.
science.
And I know
I
your,
learned about it in Obvious Plant magazine.
yours is obviously free range Uruguayan orphans.
What's
No, keep them tied up.
But what's great about Lucky 13 is that one burger they make that night, they put the little king baby in, like Mardi Gras cakes, and
Yeah.
put in one burger, and if you get that, it's free. So it's pretty nice.
And you also get one free orphan. I'll let you take one.
Oh, you don't want to take that home.
Yeah.
Pre-smothered.
Oh, yeah, the pub quiz happens at-
Oh,
Yeah.
happens
No,
at
you
3
want
o'clock.
to smother them yourself.
Yeah, pre-smothered,
The
right.
meat's
yeah.
fresher that way.
Yeah, if you make a game of their death,
Yeah.
they're
I mean, I
tender
know
and delicious.
a lot
Well,
of
and you can them.
a
You
lot
gotta
of
can them.
a lot of hipsters are really into self-slaughter now.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
your thing.
Yeah.
You just got to hang them
Well,
up,
see,
make
but
sure
then
they
you don't
drain
know
right.
what you're getting. You go with my product. You know it's clean. You know it was mistreated.
Well, I'm very farm to table that way. So
Is your slogan, please, sir, you'll have some more?
Do you have a Whole Foods contract yet, or?
no, not yet. But
Okay,
I got,
good. Yeah.
hoping.
I think you just got a lot closer in the last 5 minutes.
So much closer than I'll ever be.
So yeah, I do a pub quiz 8 o'clock
pub
at
quiz.
Lucky 13.
pub quiz.
It's fucking great.
God,
It's fucking great.
The crying coming from your basement at night is just getting weird.
Well, that's just him.
Yeah.
The crying is keeping him awake. He's Jimmy Martin.
I'm trying to sleep, goddammit.
It's pretty bad when you can hear it all the way across the driveway down in your basement.
Yeah, man.
I cry loud.
Yeah.
He's a scream crier.
Is it your tears?
Fuck, I don't want to go there tomorrow. Fuck. Ah. Okay.
Or remind me, I got to talk to you about that.
As I always like to say, watch me on KSL.
Yeah.
Big Movie Mouth Off, standing strong. You can listen to me on the Arrow, Geek Show, Mediocre Show, and Read Me and Slug. No interviews this week, but the next 2 episodes we'll have them. So we'll do that.
All right.
Jimmy
Yeah.
Martin's the coolest motherfucker on KSL.
Oh,
That's a fact.
we ran that once and we got in trouble.
Watch Jimmy Martin fuck some shit up coming up next
Be a new sweeper.
on the KSL News.
The ghost of Spencer Kimball shows up.
Hey. Coming up next on KSL, Jimmy Martin tells us that Pixel sucks cock.
Yeah.
He's seen the ghost of Spencer Kimball.
I multiple times.
He's Lee George Cade.
But seriously, if you've done the things I've done, you see all kinds of things.
It's true.
It's true. It's true.
Sure.
Hey, here's a funny thing.
Lee is a 300-year-old vampire. I think we've already established that long ago.
He's had 750 jobs.
Most of the ghosts you see, you knew them when they were alive.
well, and most of them are me.
Yeah.
Well, I can believe you'd had so many jobs if you were Jamaican because they always have like 3 at once.
Yeah.
Well, a lot of
Yeah.
the reason why I have had so many is because I've had 3 at once.
I've done the
Oh,
math.
okay.
I've
You're
done,
not paying attention to his feet. He's cooking right now.
Yeah.
I've done the math. All the things that you say you've done
That might want.
make you immortal.
I bullshit in a great many ways, but about the jobs I've had,
Doesn't need to.
Not an ounce.
Were some of
So,
them 1 to 2 days long?
3 of them.
Okay.
Postmortem cleanup was 4 hours because when you start scraping somebody's teeth out of a shower, you just kind of go.
Absolutely. Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
This is not a career path I
Yeah.
want.
Was this Shannon's bathtub as he was making his burgers?
They're not burgers. It's whole chunk orphan.
Oh, sorry.
I just love that he got a contract with the government so he can sell them in the white labeled cans.
Listen, I'm going to go from saying this to talking about vegan jerky. There's a lot of good meat on the face.
Yeah.
The jerky, the vegan jerky
God.
thing.
Well, what is it?
Orphan cheek.
A weird thing happened, right?
Yes.
Like we closed the restaurant, and a lot of people were like, "Oh my God, this is so sad." And I'm more relaxed than I've been in 6 years, because you know what? We have a vegan convenience store where the restaurant used to be.
Yeah.
You know how hard it is to run a vegan convenience store? Hey, stoners, come buy some chips. It takes care of itself. Like so, life's good. Life's good.
Good for you.
So
It's about time.
Where Frisch was, 145 East, 1300 South, is a little place that we lovingly refer to as the Vegan Agenda. So if you really want to know what the Vegan Agenda has in store for you, just stop in. And really, what we have in store for you is snack foods,
Cheese
soft
sauce.
serve, cheese sauce, and jerky. Funny thing happened with the jerky. You can get it. Just look for Frisch Vegan Foods on Etsy. There's multiple stores around the country. You look at our Facebook page. We have them listed there. We just got picked up by the Etsy Este Pizzeria in Park City.
Oh,
So
nice.
the 2 locations here in Salt Lake.
Right.
No, they're like,
Park
no.
City. Yes.
Because they've got my the other Estes. They have my orphan
Orphan
meat.
sheep. Yeah.
So
Yeah.
they're like super meat eaters.
So you were actually going to have
So you guys are like Coke and Pepsi. I get it.
kind of yeah.
Exactly.
One of us is compassionate soybeans. The other one is Uruguay.
Very uncompassionate.
Coke
But-
and,
Could be
Coke
less
and soil and
compassionate,
green, maybe.
really.
Quick story. we got an email from a guy.
Was it an orphan that said help me?
No, they don't get to the computer much,
I give him 30 minutes a day.
so they can look at pictures of the sky.
Enough
That's so they can see
screen time to tenderize.
So we get a email from a guy named Steven from a place called, you're gonna love this name, fakemeats.com.
Oh,
God. yeah.
Okay.
Fakemeats.com.
Straight to the point.
Yeah, you know what fakemeats.com sells?
Fake meat.
Fake meat.
Okay.
He gets a hold of me and he says, "Hey, can we have a talk? Because we want to be your distributor on the East Coast." Well, I've never talked to a distributor before. Now, the difference between a wholesaler and a distributor is it costs a lot more to go with the distributor.
Right.
They take a bigger cut.
Right.
Sure.
Well, cool. So I get on the phone with Steven yesterday, and he says, "Well, we're talking about a small order, like maybe 1,000 units."
Oh, God. 1,000.
Yeah. So they placed their first order this morning. So anyway,
1,000
Nice.
units?
I'll be riding off my jet this year.
Congrats.
No kidding, man.
You know,
No,
you
but when it comes
Congratulations.
to distributor prices, I think I'm making 40 cents a bag.
can I make one suggestion, though? That you should go across the street to your neighbor restaurant and steal their sign that says, "Come on in, you'll be pleasantly surprised."
Yeah.
No, because I have friends who can tell you what goes on in the basement of that particular.
I
place.
know what
I
goes
know.
on in the basement of that place.
So much parcheesi.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We're not going to talk about restaurants with basements and stuff like that. That's old stuff.
He doesn't want to talk about restaurants with
No.
basements. He's counts.
What the hell am I doing here?
He's sitting in for our missing champion, James.
Yeah.
James.
Jason.
Jason.
James is
James
here.
is
James
over
is
there.
over there.
James is-
No, I got James on the mind because I need to ask him a question.
And champion's
But,
a harsh word.
But Jay is out for a little bit. He'll be.
He's
he'll be back.
defending our liberties.
He's doing something like
Yeah.
He's down and fucking eating pizza.
I actually have a thing I can say.
Do we
I
truly ever know?
I never have a
No.
thing I can say. So, besides Big Movie Mouth Off, where
Yes.
you can see me with Jimmy every week, I actually have a podcast that I do for my day job. Nobody knows this. I work in the classical music industry, and I have a podcast that I do. It's an interview podcast talking to conductors, composers, violin soloists, pianists. Super
Penises?
boring. No.
Pianists.
We're only in season 2. I haven't established a big enough audience yet, but yeah. So it's called the Ghost Light Podcast. We're on iTunes. So I have a thing. I've never had a
Very
thing.
good.
Hey.
I've had a
Good
thing.
for you.
Yeah, yeah,
I liked your episode on Orwellian oboes.
yeah,
That was-
yeah.
And
It was 10 minutes long, and we covered everything.
I just want to say it's okay for me to talk about this orphan stuff because I'm an orphan.
That's true.
So that's
As
cool.
am I.
Yeah.
So yes.
So go to Uncle Barney's sad orphan meat.com. Get you some orphan meat.
James, should I talk about this? The
Well, real fast before you do that,
Wait,
Oh yeah.
Oh.
You. We got to talk about you.
He's going to put in an order.
Yeah.
He's Kerry Jackson.
Oh, hi.
He's going to try to skip himself.
That's right.
Well, he doesn't want to be associated with
Yeah.
Cannibals.
Uncle Barney's sad orphan.
Or
meats.
people with
It's
classical
Uncle Barney's
music
sad,
podcasts. It's the
sad
worst.
orphan meat.
Oh, I'm sorry, I forgot the second sad.
Monday through Friday, 6 to 10, x96.com.
When are they just going to bring us on? Because
I know, right?
I want to know with this kind of entertainment.
I would like that to happen.
Orphan meats.
Could you
nonstop.
imagine people driving to work listening to somebody talk about orphan
Now,
meat?
James, real quick, no or yes on this? Or later?
After the break.
After the break? Okay, and how about the T-shirts? Can I say that they're back? Can I say that? By the time that people hear this recording,
Facebook page and the geekshowpodcast.com.
Facebook page and geekshowpodcast.com probably by Monday afternoon.
Do they come in
for their-
husky?
Yes.
I've been told my wife and I had a long talk. Turns out that I'm husky.
You?
And I was really upset because husky is what old ladies used to use in
When you're a kid.
a replacement of the word fat.
Yeah.
Instead of calling you a fat
Yeah,
fuck, they
if you
said
grew
were
up in the
husky.
70s, instead of your grandma saying, "Well, you sure are a fat fucker," she would look at you and say, "Oh, you're husky, and you
Yeah.
used to be charming."
No, I remember.
Slow down on the orphan meat. You're getting
Right.
husky.
I remember the first time I heard that was from my grandma.
Right.
I was crying and said the kids called me fat. So, oh, honey, you're not
just
fat.
husky.
You're husky.
You're husky.
I'm like,
So
You're pleasantly
Right.
plump.
Yeah.
my wife and I are like, we're sitting there having dinner, and she goes, "Well, I looked at some pants at the store for you," and I thought, "Oh God, we're at that point in our relationship where she's looking for pants for me."
I got you some
And
pants, Leigh.
and then she says, "But I just wasn't sure if they were husky enough for you," and I was like,
God.
"Peg leg."
well, let's start.
What do we say? You can get the T-shirts.
Yes, they by the time you hear this, they will be available.
Check it out on our Facebook page and on our YouTube, or not. I mean, you can
YouTube.
check it out on our YouTube links. I'll include a link there. More importantly, I made sure we did hoodies as well as T-shirts
Oh,
with
good.
just the basic Geek Show podcast logo,
Hoodies.
emblem.
Perfect
that
for a holiday present.
Hoodies.
Yeah.
And don't worry about them shrinking because we pre-soak them in orphan tears.
Yes.
Yeah.
stuff. Well, and the other thing that
That's
I
why they're
mentioned
so soft.
that we did too is I feel like I priced them pretty competitively. And I didn't skimp on the quality either. So if you like the next level stuff that we were doing before, where it's that cotton poly blend where it stretches a little bit and doesn't die after 2 washes, you'll like it. Thanks, bye.
All right, thank you, Excitable James. Everyone. Woo,
That was,
Excitable James.
was well
he, just,
done.
he just crawled back into his hole.
And now, and since Tony is not here, Tony's not feeling well.
I miss Tony.
Probably trying to
So-
make goddamn energy drinks.
Now here's the true test,
Slurm's made of orphans.
because I have a letter here.
A letter?
Yes,
Can you do it?
Oh, will he put it in?
that's the question. Is if he listens to the episode.
Oh, that's what you're trying to tell if he listens.
Yeah, if he listens to the episode before he slams it all together,
Yep.
then he'll put the letters we get letters jingle right here.
Shannon is texting him. Don't.
I'm not.
So,
All right.
did he just get a nosebleed and pass out?
Probably.
Hit his head from that great fall.
Yeah, hit his head on a standard height ceiling.
I worry about Tony. All of the energy drinks that he consumes.
Oh man.
And Mountain Dew.
But coffee's terrible.
Yeah.
And the candy, just the
candy, the sugar intake
yeah.
is just astounding.
It
I'll
is.
bet he,
He's
I'll
a
bet he-
growing boy.
I'll bet he tastes delicious. But you know,
Is he going to be on Shannon's dessert
Because-
menu?
because unlike Shannon, Shannon's empire, Tony is allowed to see the sun and play in the grass every day.
Right.
So
all right.
That is
So
true.
we got this letter. This is from Missy Moody.
Hi, Missy.
Hey. I've been listening to your podcast for about 8 months. It has brought so much joy to my life
one
until
more
the
month and they're gonna have a podcast, baby.
I had a joke and
Sorry. Fuck. Say it with R2 and be quiet.
See what happens when you leave things out of rehearsal, Kerry? you got to put it in the script.
I'm sorry.
all right.
I really suck.
But what I need to thank you for is something you did it in a single episode. A little backstory. I've just gotten out of an emotional and mildly physical abusive relationship. It's a surprise to anyone who knows me because I used to be this 5-foot redhead firecracker that didn't take shit from anyone. But during this relationship, I was basically almost gone. I felt worthless as a woman and was living on 1% battery life. Then your Wonder Woman episode came on. Listening to each one of you standing up for women in the geek world changed me and literally saved my life. Your words penetrated to my very core, and it was a wake-up call for how much I had lost myself. So I must thank Geek Show Podcast for reminding me of my firecracker self and eventually got myself out of something that was life-threatening. From the bottom of my heart, I sincerely appreciate everything that you not only do for geeks, but standing up for geek women. Now, with all that being said, I need some advice. Well, before we get to the advice, let me just say this, Missy. I don't think it was us. I think it was you, and I think it was Diana. I think it was Wonder Woman.
Yeah.
You just needed someone to point it out to you that she's there and that you're there. That's all.
I mean, looking back on that film from today's perspective, could it have been more timely? Could it have been more perfectly placed?
Absolutely.
In this moment?
I mean,
Molly,
everyone says that we should have gotten it sooner, but I kind of like where you're going.
I think it was perfect. It was exactly the right place. And Molly, you need to go inherit this world. It's
Missy.
Missy, sorry, Missy. You need to inherit this world. It's there's been enough old white guys for a couple thousand years.
I heard
it's your turn.
I heard Howard Dean talking about how his generation needs to just step off.
Really? He
Absolutely.
said that?
Yeah, Howard Dean said he's encouraging everybody of his generation to just basically shut the fuck up and
take ours too.
Yes.
I'll
gladly go.
Yeah, mine is fucked up as well.
I told my kids flat out.
Am I okay?
The next
Well,
to be determined.
I told my kids the next
You're
election
straddling
cycle
the line.
that I'm basically going to listen to them before I vote because it's their world is what I'm voting on. So we need to remember that when we're 70 and 80 years old that the world that we're going and being terrified and voting in elections over. That's not a world we're going to live in for very long. So we need to talk to the younger people.
You have to think beyond the confines of your own lifespan.
What are you leaving for these kids?
Yep.
And
well, I my generation when I look at Facebook and I see the people that I went to high school with, and I'm the lone weirdo.
Yeah. Well, you've always been the lone
weirdo.
weirdo.
That's true.
That's why you found this tribe.
So I need to get my generation to shut the fuck up.
Yep.
All right. Now, with all of that being said, I do need some advice. I'm a professional cosplayer / costume designer, and I got in the habit of not going out.
Oh.
I'd like to put the sewing projects down to treat myself to some nerd activities. Now, I know of Shannon's pub quiz.
Come to my pub quiz.
And there's cosplay karaoke.
I was going to mention that. Yeah.
Happens in town. Do you know of anything else that I might be able to enjoy for nerddom? Or maybe even just something fun to get myself to socialize again. Don't worry, I don't bite unless that's what you want.
With
all
love,
right.
Missy
I like her
Moody.
sassy attitude.
And she sent me some pictures of herself, and I think we have all met her at Comic-Con or various places. I know I have.
Get a hold of Kiki. Kiki
Yes.
Furia. She's a professional cosplayer and very heavily involved in the cosplay community. So if cosplay is your thing, Kiki definitely knows the people and what kind of charitable work. If you like the dressing up stuff, the 501st or the Mando Mercs, they do a lot of cosplay charity.
Now, Kiki is mostly on Instagram.
She's on Instagram. She also does. I know they do a lot of charity work where they do karaoke balls and other things, or not karaoke. But
I'm just trying to get her to go to her because she's been on the show a couple of times.
Yeah, she's on Instagram. She's also just on Facebook. She has a fan
she does.
page for that.
Kiki Furiosa.
Yeah, and Ash Sweetring. She's another person that does a lot of cosplay work, and even that. If there's something that you really dig that really makes you happy, like I recently found that going to a game store on Friday nights actually helps me mellow out and not hate the world so much.
I saw your post last night. It was like almost 11 or something. And
I was up until 1 in the morning just playing games and having fun.
I was going to suggest the Watchtower Cafe.
Yep.
Yeah.
They
Definitely.
always have
Definitely.
geeky, nerdy meetup stuff.
Yeah.
I think they do speed dating there every once in a while.
Yeah.
They do. I go every other Saturday.
Yeah.
It's,
That's where you get your side pieces?
yeah.
Cool.
Roger Lawson goes.
Roger Lawson.
Roger Lawson.
Roger Lawson.
Roger
No,
Lawson
but
goes.
they always do like card trading. This last week they had Saturday morning cartoon brunch.
Yep.
Well, that's cool.
They just bought a whole bunch of cereal, and you could buy a bowl of cereal and watch cartoons.
That's great.
Yeah.
$7.
And you could go there in your pajamas and everything would be fine.
There's a good chance Corey and Tui are wearing pajamas.
Yes.
So,
Yes.
And they're two of the sweetest people in the world. and
Yes,
supporting them is-
introduce yourself to Corey and Tui.
I'd say Geek Show movie night. Huge way to meet
Wait,
people.
no.
Yes.
Oh.
We should start doing like
Lee.
we should start doing like
We should do meetups at least.
Meetups,
Yeah, well,
yeah.
let's talk about that for the new year.
I don't say.
I think Excitable James could be very significant in that.
I think you could do some searches on Facebook too, and like find some groups and stuff, and join it up. And I'm sure
there's a like Salt Lake nerd meetup singles thing. Yeah.
Well, there's some funny things. Like my particular passion of choice right now is I like miniatures. I like war games. Those are cool. probably has nothing to do with what she likes. But I found that there are communities online that are not, for instance, compared to like the local vegan scene is really quite negative. I don't know why. It makes me sad. But the online group that builds terrain, that's all over the world for games. These people are super passionate and they love sharing each other's projects. So I think that's been a similar thing with the cosplay community. From what I've seen, is there are people in the cosplay community that are so passionate about doing their projects or doing Twitch streams where they show people how to build things. And that's so cool because you learn something by watching these streams, and then you build a community and you have friends and you get out and you do cool things.
Well, I think another suggestion too is, we mentioned the Watchtower, we mentioned cosplay karaoke and stuff like that. Go there, and one of the best things someone ever taught me before I ever kind of grew up was networking.
Yep.
Networking is one of the greatest things you can do. So meet people there; they'll tell you what's going on. You spread, and you'll have shit to do every day before you know it.
Michael Neff.
Neff.
Neff's one of the greatest people you'll ever meet. He actually looks like Agent Callus from
Yeah,
Star Wars
does.
Rebels.
He does, huh?
And he's with the Mandos here in Salt Lake City. But that
He runs
dude's
cosplay karaoke, doesn't he?
yeah, and
Yes.
he's got a heart as big as both sons of Tatooine,
Yep.
and he's definitely big on reaching out and
Sure.
giving back to the community, but also building community too.
All
So
right.
there you go.
What
Hey,
about
hold
what
on, we're
about
done- we're done
Dr.
with-
Volts too? That's
Oh, that-
I mean, that's
yeah.
not just a retail space. I mean, I've never been there and not seen somebody that I met through you guys.
That's true.
I mean,
That's true.
Okay, look,
Yeah.
I think I can do this. Watch.
okay.
I think I
Oh,
can do
you
it
think you
faster
got
than
the? Yeah.
Tony. Oh, maybe.
Oh,
Come on.
don't you
Come on.
don't you challenge?
No, you're just making.
No, you're just.
Oh,
yeah.
buddy.
Letters. Sometimes we get letters, and then we answer them.
All right, there we go.
You did that 4.5 minutes
Take
faster.
that, Tony.
All right.
You got out jingled, Tony.
He's sitting in his house going, someone's talking about me.
Those frickers.
Jelly beans taste sour.
those
the
fetchers.
sons of beaches.
He swears. Don't make it worse.
What'd you say, honey? Cocksuckers.
Got down, sat on a bench.
I sneezed.
All right. So, big thing this week: the Infinity War trailer.
Yeah.
That looked okay.
What? Did that come out? I'm
what's-
kidding. I saw it
what
5
turns
times.
me on more about that trailer? That my wife's watched it 4 times more than I have.
Yeah,
Really?
because
Oh, yeah. She's obsessed with it.
Really?
Love it.
That's funny.
my
But she
wa-
gets really
Great.
mad, though, because when the scene where Thanos knocks the shit out of Spider-Man, because that's her
Yeah.
boy. And she's like, what the fuck?
Well, and he punches Iron Man.
Knocks him the
My-
fuck
my-
out.
he one punches Iron Man.
Yeah.
My wife has a thing for beardy boys.
Oh, mine
so when,
too.
So when Evans walks out with the beard,
Yeah.
and she goes,
Wow.
these are his exact words, and I'll try to get the inflection. Oh, he has a beard.
My wife just went, ugh.
That's what my wife did.
Well,
Oh, my God.
that will come back. Physiology is a media research firm, social media research firm. And they have found these facts about that trailer. Well, first of all,
People like it.
it dethroned it dethroned it as the most viewed trailer in a 24-hour period.
Jesus.
And it was the number one up
topped
until
them all.
this.
Really? Really?
230 million views.
It's the first time I've used my YouTube app on my
Yeah,
Comcast.
exactly.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Let's see. The first trailers for a movie with the most mentions within the first 7 hours. Avengers: Infinity War. Yeah, this is all social media mentions that
Yeah.
they track.
Did
so-
you see it?
Yeah.
Did you see it?
Uh-huh.
Oh, cool.
yeah, yeah.
Did you know there was a?
We were doing a broadcast on Wednesday morning from a car dealership because we were doing the fundraisers for the road home.
Oh, I heard this. Yeah.
And I've got like our chat room open and our text thing open so that I can communicate with the listeners, and they're all like, "Did you see it?" And I'm
Can
like,
I
I'm
just-
talking about it on the show, for God's sake.
Oh,
I-
you're kidding.
Can I just say something to the listeners?
Yeah.
God damn it, I love you people.
I love you.
But,
But
quit tagging me in goddamn superhero trailers. I fucking saw them before you did. Okay? Or at the same fucking
And
time.
I don't want to be an asshole about it, but chances are I knew about it before you did too.
There's
Yep.
that. I mean, if it's rare, like someone sent me and I did not see it, was Lego's going to come out with like a Tron light cycle. And I was like,
Oh.
that's pretty cool. I did not
Yeah.
know that was coming.
Yeah.
But like anything like this big, it's like, we all know it's there.
Yeah.
I have
My
a
fucking mom knew it was there.
I have a computer and a phone too.
In some cases, there's a guy who works for that company that sent you the trailer before
Right.
it dropped.
for one of us, it's kind of his job to
Yeah.
be aware of these things.
anyway, so the first
Maybe
trailers,
two.
for a movie with the most mention within the first 7 hours. The record is Avengers: Infinity War, followed by The Last Jedi, Star Wars.
Yeah.
50 Shades of Grey.
Of course.
Jesus.
Then Captain America Civil War, and then Black Panther.
Huh.
So there you go.
You know,
Now,
I think the next 50 Shades and Black Panther come out the same time.
Yep.
February?
I think so, yeah.
I think
the
you're
same
God,
day.
which one am I going to see first?
No, they are. They are the same
I think
day.
it's the same day.
Hard.
That's going to be a fucking
If
fight.
the scene in the trailer that I'm about to mention does what I think it's going to do, I'm going to have the most visceral reaction to a charge scene that I've had since the Two
Yeah.
Towers.
Yeah.
There's a scene in the Two Towers where Helm's Deep is going horribly bad, and they look up on the hill, and Gandalf's up there on his horse. And then all of a sudden, all of Rohan shows up, and they come charging down the mountain.
Yeah.
And I'm weeping and sobbing, and wiping
course.
my eyes on everybody. So there's a scene with Cap, Bucky, and the Widow, and all of
Hulk.
Wakanda,
And the Hulk.
and the Hulk,
And the Hulk, yeah.
and all of Wakanda charging, And I'm like,
Charging against an army of Chitauri.
yeah, and I'm just like,
You know.
I know.
Now, this group, this physiology, goes on to break down the top 5 talked about moments from the trailer.
Ooh.
You ready?
Okay.
Okay, I'll start with number 5. Grouped together, running at the end.
Yeah.
Like 2,108 mentions.
Incompletely grouped. Interesting who's not there. But
And again,
yeah.
this is in the first 24 hours. Okay. Get this man a shield.
Yes.
Oh, my
Get
God.
this man a shield.
Not his shield, a shield.
Yeah.
2,180 mentions. Number 3, Guardians of the Galaxy at the end of the
Oh, yeah.
trailer.
Who the hell are you guys?
Who the hell are you guys?
And that was like 5,497 mentions.
well, they got to fuck the show up somehow.
Number 2,
Oh, man.
Shut up.
He's not baby anymore, so shut the fuck up.
Motherfucker, I'm wearing a Guardians hat sitting next to
he
you.
does this. He
what?
does this to me all the time. Anyway,
It's called baiting.
It is.
All right.
It's trolling. It's called trolling.
Get this goddamn hook out of my mouth.
You take that back.
I do take it back. I'm sorry.
number 2, Spidey sense.
Yeah.
Yep.
That is the best
6,100.
way I've ever seen Spidey sense
Yep.
done. Because usually you get like the blee over the head.
Yeah.
I do think it's funny, though, that the thing he gets Spidey sense about is a gigantic spaceship in the sky. I think,
It's just turning around.
I
would have
think,
done the
I think
same
everybody.
But the number one thing mentioned in the first 24 hours, with 20,474 mentions, Cap's beard.
Yeah.
I believe it.
thing. Yep. He looks everybody.
I believe it.
All
Everybody,
that cool shit that we just listed for you, and you're obsessed. You're obsessed with Cap's beard.
everybody who knows Cap from Baby Eater the movie, he looks great in a beard.
Now,
I'm talking about Snowpiercer.
now, tell me this though.
Good
that
movie.
This may be a generalization. Tell me that most of those likes or mentions are not geek girls, and tell me
I
tell
hope
me that
so.
girls can't be fucking geeks.
They are
Absolutely.
clearly they are.
Absolutely.
I mean,
Well, he does
Girls
have,
can't be geeks.
he does have something of a weak chin, so giving him a beard definitely fills out his
It helps.
jaw
Look,
profile.
I'm
He definitely looks like an
He's an
asshole.
ugly son of a
look.
bitch.
I'm just happy he and Jenny Slate are back together. So
Right.
that happened.
It did.
I am
That
fine.
happened.
What's Jenny Slate?
She's
She's a comedian.
Oh, yeah.
A very funny one.
Yeah?
And
Cool.
they dated
know her.
they dated for a long time, and then
Yeah.
they broke up, and it was sad. And now they're back together.
he was too sad, and she couldn't handle it.
They met on the set of Gifted.
I don't even know who she is. So
You
I'm just
do.
making
I
that
think.
up.
I think you probably
You've-
do. If
yeah,
you look
you've
her up,
seen her.
you
She-
do.
Yeah, you've seen her.
She was on Saturday Night Live briefly. She's very funny.
Was she?
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
Drunk
Extremely
History.
funny.
She does Drunk History a lot.
Oh, I love Drunk History,
Yeah. All right.
I'm living it.
Making it.
but not remembering it.
It's like
Now-
S.H.I.E.L.D. last night. I sat in front of S.H.I.E.L.D. Did not watch it.
I did.
Yeah. See, I got smart after a couple of vodkas. I went, I'm going to shut this off, or I'm not going to remember it. So
It was me, Egg, and Shannon watching it, and it was Egg and I were watching it. Cat came over for a second, so it made all the fucking dogs bark, and then she's like, "Well, I'm gonna leave," and I was like, "Well, that was fantastic." And then I look over at Shannon, and he's got his eyes like half squinted open, and I was like, and then my mind go, "You ain't remembering this." And then when it's time to leave, you had your dinner over there, and you stood there, took at least 4 minutes to like pick up your plate and like walk to the door.
I will say this: what I do remember of it was enjoyable.
I rewatched it again this morning.
Oh,
It
you
was
did?
It's
fucking
fantastic.
Good.
Fantastic.
Was it Hulu's Runaways enjoyable?
I've watched the first episode.
I only
haven't
watched
watched it
one
yet.
episode.
I am
four
I'm
episodes
I'm
in.
3 in, and
Yeah.
I'm all in.
It's so fucking good.
It's really
I
good.
might start
so
watching
fucking
it
good.
tonight.
It's
into it.
really
and
good.
I swore after it because I love Brian Vaughn. Brian Vaughn's amazing. So I love the original Runaways comic, the Whedon version, not so much. But I didn't think they'd do the dinosaur.
Well, Vaughn's helping them on this.
I know he is.
Yeah,
I know he
so-
is. But
It is full on in there.
They've
What's her
expanded.
name? Alice or no? What's the dinosaur's name?
We haven't heard a name yet.
We haven't heard the name for the
I can't remember,
yeah,
but-
but it's
Yeah.
Gert's dinosaur.
Yeah,
and
it only listens to her. Yeah.
yeah. So
It's so
I
good.
gotta watch that shit.
You do.
Does it have the big metal thing in its nose?
Yep.
Yep,
Oh my
it's got a
God!
metal
Yep,
ring in its
it's-
nose,
yep.
and the kids they're doing a slow burn on it. The kids are starting to get their powers,
Right, right.
but they're expanding the family. So,
Yeah.
James Marster, Spike from Buffy, is one of the parents.
Shut the
And
front door.
He's just this cold, cynical asshole scientist, and
Oh, I gotta watch this shit.
it's like I've come to this conclusion because after what was the crazy X-Men one that we watched, Legion?
Oh, Legion.
Yeah.
Legion was phenomenal, right?
yeah. Oh, yeah.
And
so is
Gifted.
Gifted. I
Gifted-
love Gifted.
Gifted's pretty good. I don't like the main family, but everything else about it I love.
Cat likes it.
But I like the show. I
haven't
like the
seen
show
it
a
yet.
lot. But Runaways, I'm just convinced now that after Inhumans, ABC's co-producing.
Yeah.
It makes sense, but it's like by not being on ABC, they're taking some risks and not doing formulaic storytelling, and it works. And
It's
it's
damn
super
good.
cool.
Well, and I've got a
Damn
story
good.
related to that
Cool.
coming up. But I do have to. Well, I'll just jump right to it. Let me find that. Because I know Shannon's watching Riverdale.
I'm kind of a little behind this year because for some reason Jason Voorhees is on it.
it
Really?
It's basically like there's a
There's a murderer.
There's a murderer, and I'm like,
the
Jesus
first season I
fucking-
thought was kind of charming and it was okay to watch, and then it got to the end and I was like, God, if I was anybody in the family, the people who created the Archie comics, I'd actually be kind of depressed.
Well,
know?
have you seen what? But
And now it's
That's
now it's a slasher show.
well, that's what they like. Archie comics. There's like all these weird versions of Archie.
Yeah, it's true.
Sure.
Like crossover weird
I think
things
if you were
and-
the family of the creators of Archie Comics, you'd cash the check and be
I'd
happy.
just say thanks for the check.
because it's
if-
bigger than it's been in a long
Sure,
time
sure.
right now. I mean,
Well-
even the comics are selling.
Yeah, and when they relaunched the comics a couple years back, they were actually kind of cool and fun to read. But
Well, they got one where Archie had to murder Jughead. He was a zombie.
yeah.
But there's been talk about a Sabrina the Teenage Witch spinoff.
I saw this.
So they're not going to do it on the CW.
Oh yeah.
They're going to do it on Netflix.
Oh.
And it's interesting. They went ahead. They haven't there's no release date. There's no casting. Netflix just said, yeah, we'll do that.
They're gonna.
You know what they would have to do though, because if it's crossover, because if they're doing week by week on the CW,
Well, that
they
makes
can't release everything on Netflix because if you get ahead of the time.
that makes me wonder if it's going to be a crossover at
I
all.
bet it will
Yeah.
have no Archie characters in
with
it at all.
Netflix,
Besides Sabrina.
they're getting so daring. I mean, they just announced they're doing Gerard Way's Umbrella Academy as a series
Yes,
with Ellen Page.
Ellen
And-
Page is cast in it.
and that's like if you really liked if you really liked
that book is so crazy.
that book is so much fun. It kind of reminds me of some of the old Vertigo titles that used to be out from DC,
Exactly.
and he's Gerard Way's all in. He's like, yeah, I'm cool. I'm executive producing.
What is it? What is this? story?
Umbrella Academy is like if the X-Men were not the X-Men, they were all just teenagers with superpowers that were adopted by.
It's like a fucked up superhero family.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
this guy adopts all these kids with gifted abilities. One of them doesn't have powers. Turns out she does. So it's told in flashbacks at this dude's funeral. So they're all together for the first time since they were teenagers at his funeral, and they're all telling flashbacks that puts the story together. It's a very good comic book.
Sounds like it.
And beautifully illustrated. God,
Yeah.
check that out. Umbrella Academy.
Well, but Sabrina, Greg Berlanti, executive producing series.
Does he have enough time?
I know, right? It's going to be called The Chilling Adventures of Sabrina. And the Archie's chief creative officer and Riverdale showrunner, he's involved. People
Is
who...
it the guy that just got shit canned though?
No, that
No,
was
that was
Supergirl and
Supergirl and Flash.
Yeah.
Different guy.
Yeah.
But all the people involved with the CW show are going to be doing it, but for Netflix, which is strange to me, but also kind of exciting because maybe they're going to take it in a different direction.
Hey, did you guys see the big CW DC
the
series
Crisis
crossover?
on,
I'm
Crisis
halfway-
on EarthX.
I'm halfway.
I saw
it was good.
Oh,
I'm halfway.
Fucking Nazi Supergirl.
oh yeah.
I thought it was good.
Yeah.
I mean, you could tell it was almost the feeling, at least that I got, was that DC was going to try to beat Marvel to the punch of 30 characters on a screen at once with the camera going everywhere, and I was like, holy shit! Like for a TV show, that ain't bad.
There was not. I mean, my wife, she's where you're at. I finished it. My wife's halfway through it. She's like, they're not going to damsel anybody, are they? No one fucking gets damseled. Everybody's a badass.
Yeah.
But yeah, there's a lot of Nazi punching going on, Kerry.
man.
Nazi punch? Well, no, not even Nazi punching. What's funny because before we got to that one of the episodes, Kat goes, "Nobody gets fucking killed in these shows. Like everybody gets punched in the head or gets knocked down like that." And then all of a sudden they get to the one episode with the Nazis, just fucking mowing down Nazis like that. I go, they can do it, because they're Nazis.
Exactly. Nobody goes, hey!
You can't shoot Nazis.
Well, there
hold on,
are some.
Now, hold on.
Well, the president.
I mean, there's good people
I
on
knew
both
it was
sides.
coming.
You know, some
knew
guy
you were
maybe
doing
he's
it.
like, hey,
he's just having a
he
bad
might
day.
be a Nazi, but he gives to charity.
Look, he just got laid off from his hot dog stand.
That's right.
He needed a job. I'll
Shannon.
apply with the Nazis.
Shannon, he denies it.
So
He denies it.
here's my question:
Yeah,
I support him.
which was better, Justice League or the crossover?
crossover.
Wow, wow, that was fast. He answered that fast.
I had some issues with Justice League though.
I've got issues. I got issues with both.
Yeah. No, I mean the other. It's a cheesy TV show, so I'm willing to go. Oh well, that's okay. But I actually found myself afterwards far more thrilled with the TV show than I was with Justice League,
I'd almost say they're kind of on par.
Huh?
Yeah.
Shannon,
which is bad news for your movie.
I ain't finished it yet.
Yeah, right. He spent
Oh.
that much money on it.
you haven't finished.
I haven't
Okay.
finished it, but fuck that. I like Justice League better.
All right.
I love Justice
It was
League.
bigger.
When Felicity walked out on the CW, so did I. I haven't been back. I haven't been back in a long time.
All right.
Once
I
she
haven't
cut
been
her
back in
hair,
a
you're
while.
like, I'm fucking
No,
done
when
with
she,
you.
when she got up out of the wheelchair, I got up out of my
That's a fair-
recliner.
that's a fair
and
point.
left the room.
I will say this though.
That's a fair point.
Yeah.
Two things that happened. One, because each one's I mean, they're all crossover, but one's like the Supergirl episode, one's the Flash episode, and the one that was the Arrow. Everything that happens with that episode is so confined that it didn't fucking matter. Like that, and Kat goes, well, I just wasted an hour of my life.
Yeah.
Because
And
that's
then
one. So that was the first two, right? It was.
The second one?
I think it was the third one actually.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
Oh, God,
I haven't gotten there yet.
that one.
And Legends of Tomorrow is so unafraid of being just batshit crazy.
Just goofy
and,
as
and it's
fuck.
goofy. And it's like if my kids were little again, that would be the show that we'd be sitting down to watch every week.
I'm gonna say a spoiler alert because I don't care because I thought it was funny what Kat's reaction to it was because the whole thing is that Barry wants to get married, and the wedding gets fucked up. So at the end they're together and they're like that, and Oliver and Felicity are there with them, and all of a sudden she's like, "Hold on a second," right before they say like "I do," and she goes like, "Oliver, will you marry me?" Like that, and Kat goes, "Man, what's the girl's name? Barry's girlfriend."
Iris.
Iris. She goes, "If I was, I just go, bitch."
Hey! Stealing my fucking moment here.
What the fuck are you doing?
I'm gonna cripple you again.
And Kat was like, "You just fucked up the second wedding. Thanks a lot. I appreciate that."
All I'm going to say is that Jimmy's favorite moment of this big superhero crossover show was a fucking wedding. CW. I rest my case.
was my favorite moment. I just said that was a moment.
Counts. Oh, bringing the pain.
A wedding. God.
All right.
Is Legends?
Hey,
did
yes, but
they-
you know
they-
what? She does sing a song in it.
I'm sure. Yeah, the music. Yeah. Double barf. But even Legends was getting relationshipy there by the time I walked out. Have they
Sure.
stopped? Have they stopped it or?
Oh no,
you're just okay with
there's
it?
hooking up going left and right.
Oh.
There's actually really non-exploitative gay relationships going on. in
Yeah.
Legends.
Well, I mean,
I noticed that on the show
fine.
too. I was like, "Oh, they're gay. Oh, and they're gay.
Yeah.
They're gay and they're gay."
Yeah.
I was like, okay, whatever.
No, because
I'm gay.
there's something my daughter talks about that the media has a problem with. It's called kill your gays syndrome.
Oh, yeah.
Where you bring
I've read about this, yeah.
gay characters and you kill them
Oh, wow.
because
Oh.
and it happens a ton.
Really?
So there was another CW show called The 100 that actually is a semi-decent post-apocalyptic show. They actually have a strong female relationship between two characters that fall in love. Kill your gays. So it happens a lot in TV shows.
Interesting.
Well, I've said
So-
it before too. The one thing that annoyed the shit out of me was Supergirl when her sister comes out as gay to her. And I'm like, and she was like all scared to do it. I'm like,
Yeah.
you're talking to an alien
A
who
space woman.
but you know that it was
anybody's
really
misunderstanding.
really good. It was really good for gay people to see a character struggling with the insecurity that comes
But
along
now that
with.
there's so many gay characters in that universe, I want someone to come out and be like, "I'm gay." And they're like, "Yeah, cool.
Yeah, well, and
Well, I'm John."
They did that.
That's not a thing
That
anymore. you
happened
realize
on The
that.
Flash.
Yeah.
It did happen on The Flash because it was
it was
the
the
police captain.
captain. Yeah,
And
Yeah.
it was just like this character had been on for a while. And it was just like blah, blah, blah. And he goes, yeah, so anyway, my husband, blah, blah, blah. And then
there's
just
no
went
wa-
on. And I was
there's-
just like,
there's
Cool.
No, there's
I
no
was like-
ba-dum-bum. It's
but I was like, oh my God, how refreshing is
Yeah.
that?
It was
That
just
was
there.
really early on, though,
Yeah,
right?
but
That
it
was
just-
like
but it showed,
second
like-
season. Yeah.
That's how it fucking works.
If you want to hear
Yeah.
the song that should be playing during that, and Shannon knows where I'm going with it, is Brain Candy, where he's like, "I'm gay, I'm gay," and the whole song he goes, "Who cares?"
Yeah, who cares?
But
no,
it's-
it's like how it happened at work. There's this lady at work that I was pretty sure. you know.
Yep.
And she was talking to me, and she's like, blah, blah. And then my wife said, I was like, uh-huh.
But that's easy. That's as you know, that's really easy for us to say. We
I get it.
We haven't been in those shoes. So,
I get it, but they've done it so many times. I'm just like,
sure,
you,
sure.
which I think is great.
But again, it comes down to a point where if you've got, especially in Utah, where we've got a lot of gay teenagers that are committing suicide, and we've got an epidemic of teenage suicide in the gay community, and I think it's super important that we have representation on these shows where they say. Where in the case of the Supergirl episode, where she comes out to her sister and her sister's like, "I'm so happy for you." Mm-hmm. It's enabling somebody to realize that maybe it won't be the end of the world. Well, sadly, sometimes in this state it is.
Oh, yeah,
but,
for sure.
Can I say most of the generation that I work with don't give one shit.
Which is fantastic.
Yeah, they don't care.
People are gay or straight or
when I see the
trans or
kids
blah,
when I see the kids in my daughter's high school, it's like gender's a construct. None of this matters.
Right, because you go back to
when
you and I went to high school, and you and I dressed a little differently than the kids at
please.
at Redneck High,
Yep.
and we got called a fag every day.
Yeah.
I'd be walking down the hall with you guys.
Yeah, what does my daughter's generation call that term? The F slur.
Yeah.
They don't even use the word.
I'd be walking down the hall with my tall model-looking girlfriend in high school, and they'd be like, "Fag," and I'm like, "I don't think you understand how this works."
She's obviously gay.
Well, see,
if this is a dude, all right, I did good.
but that's the world I want to see. Like in the rest of the cinema is the scene you're talking about with the police chief, or in Star Trek with Sulu.
Yep.
Where he just
It
walks
just
up.
happened.
Cool.
We don't need
I don't,
fanfare.
Yeah,
I don't
it
give a
just
shit.
happened.
Exactly.
Because we normalize it. If we
Yeah.
if we try to make a big deal out of it, we've made it sensationalistic. But by normalizing it and showing Redneck Bill, it was Patton Oswalt has this whole gay pride parade thing that I fucking
Don't
love
leave gay-
because
don't
don't
go
go
gay
over
pride
enthusiastic
parade.
Puerto Rican boy wearing only a cock sock. It's by normalizing it, making it part of the world, then people won't in middle America aren't looking at it and going, blah.
Well, if you think about like in the 90s, every TV show when somebody came out gay, like Ellen or whatever, it was a fucking event.
Oh yeah.
You know?
Well,
On
what's
a special episode.
A career-ending event.
Let's not
Yeah,
lie.
yeah,
It's
that's what-
still an
She's richer
event
than
with a
she's
certain
ever
part of
been.
the internet.
Now.
It's still
Yeah.
an event.
But see, what I want to say is that it's not so much that I cared that she was coming out to somebody like you're saying because I think that is an important scene and some people like, you will be okay, it's okay. But it was just that she was coming out to her sister that was like an alien that was like I'm more of an outsider than anybody on this entire fucking planet.
Yeah.
But that gets into some what about me-isms, So, well, yeah, you are gay, and I'm an alien. Well, both are significant.
All right. After these messages, we'll be right back.